Hey guys, this is me and Chris and George. And Chris will be answering some questions for us today about a game I played. Okay, in this game I'm black. It's not a high level game. I've been playing some lower level games to practice on my weak points. I'm the Black Stones. This is always my opening, if it's available. Okay, so here, Rav3n has been playing some Go in a tournament recently. I am so used to A, but she's been playing B and C, I think it is. I don't know if it's both or just one of them, but I've seen her do it twice. So I thought I'd try it. It's like, it seems so much more positive than A. You know what I mean? It's like growing and being flexible, and I really like it. Anything special to say about it?
It's a choice. It just has different intentions than C12. No, C12 you kind of finish. It's over, done with this one. Because you're more center oriented, there's a lot more questions that I can ask. Things like C9 or C13 are possible in this shape, where they're not with the normal one. So probably she's got some preparation for taking the center power with this one. So just different ideas, I think.
And playing away, right?
Go ahead.
Playing away is also fine, and leaving against them.
Tanuki is also fine.
So A can either run over to B, run in the corner, sacrifice itself. So flexible.
All different ideas. This is, I think, like Rav3n's style. She's always been very powerful. And scary when it comes to fighting.
Getting older, she's a great player. And would you say that C is wrong?
C is not a move I've seen in this shape. I don't know about, can I call it wrong, but it's just a bit farther than the other one. So
doesn't really work with the other one.
Four space extensions are notorious for being cuttable, easily cuttable. Whereas the 3 space extensions are a little bit harder to achieve that result with.
Comes over. Now, I've been focusing a lot, especially on the opening, on keeping up tempo and realizing that this isn't Sente. So I love coming down here. Not that the left is mine, not that I even want the left, but very attractive move. That sounds reasonable?
Yeah, seems okay. You can also approach the other side. That's also playable.
Yeah. So lots of things are playable, right? Lots of things are playable. But I notice you're not saying, oh, a very positive move.
I think F3 is slightly more positive, directionally speaking.
Really?
But they're both they're both positive in slightly different ways. F3 is positive in the sense of, well, I should say they're both positive in the sense that they handle the top right corner directly. This one is positive in that it helps Q3 develop into a part of the board Black hasn't played stones in yet. Whereas C6 is more positive in that it's covering C9 a little bit.
Okay, this is all, I would say, over my head. The idea, you're saying these moves we're looking at work really well with A. That's what I hear you saying.
Yes, that is what I said.
Yeah, to me, that's a whole nother ballpark. I'm not even overplaying in that field, right? I'm like,
I can show real quick. It's a very specific thing. It's a very specific thing. So like the idea, one of the reasons why pros didn't ignore this approach before was because they were afraid of this. But no matter which one you have, A or B, it impacts what happens when you play 1 and 2.
Now, you've shown this a lot, so show me again here.
Specifically because of this ladder. Yeah, so this one is going to come down and it's going to hit on your stone here. So this one acts as a ladder breaker and works very well with the bottom right side. It would force white to play a different variation here. It would force white to play something like this, which would give up the 3/3 to black, or something like this, which would allow black to get strong against the 1 stone. White's going to have to change plans if white doesn't want to fall into that. And so the severity of white's double approach is going to be lessened, regardless of which one black plays, because black will just attach on the side that has the positive ladder and dodge white's attack quite easily.
Okay, just a second. So you're saying F3 brings up the ladder. This limits white. Well, you seem to be saying that white really wants this move. So something wrong? I mean, what's wrong with this? What's wrong with this?
Both are possible. AI gives them slightly worse scores.
Okay, like slightly worse.
Yeah, by the end of the game, it ends up being anywhere from 1 to 3 points worse usually, which for pros is a lot.
Okay, so you're saying this was a mistake?
Probably it's a little inaccurate in most board positions.
You said 1 to 3 points by the end of the game.
Yeah, that's usually the margin of error. Above 3 points is typically considered a mistake.
I see. Could we say that this also is potentially a gain from 1 to 3 points?
I mean, if somebody makes a mistake down the line, any move can be a gain, I suppose.
Let's go with perfect play.
Then no, it should be losing at least a point. I don't think I've ever seen this one with Kata be dark green. I think I've only seen it be light green or yellow. Okay. The extension I know is still played sometimes, but it's usually when white can push it P13 and build on the right side.
Okay, so we're saying that pros would prefer not to play this move.
Not to play the star or the 3/3. Yes, normally they're going to play the attachment or this diagonal.
So the diagonal's fine.
The diagonal is the standard move when the attachment is not the great one for white usually.
Okay, so
yeah.
Now we're slowly getting to my specific question. So black says, "Oh, I'm going to set up that ladder," and it's like, ladder? I don't care about any stupid ladder. And no loss. So what? Why is F3 so great?
So in this case, white gets less in the corner than when white attaches.
There you go again, saying it's a mistake.
Not a mistake. I said white gets less territory in the corner. There's a positive for white with the diagonal that white doesn't get with the attachment, and I'll show that real quick if that's okay.
Okay, let me get the control.
So with the normal attached shape, we're going to ignore the ladder for a minute. This is usually what it looks like with white. White can dig in, and then later white has how to connect in the corner for endgame. So the shape will finalize into something like this most of the time. With the diagonal, normally black is playing some attachment like this and connecting. And the only difference between the two shapes is that this AB exchange has been made. Now, in the end game, when black connects, it's going to be a positive for black. When white Ataris, black Ataris, white captures, it can also end up being a small positive for black because black can end in Sente. However, in the middle game, it's a big difference in white's life and death status. So that comes down to black attacking. White can resist the attack a lot stronger because at any point, white can cut and make an eye. So the trade-off is in the middle game, this one is going to be better. And the end game, the other one is going to be better. So that's going to come down to what the pro prioritizes more at any given point.
Okay. So we're saying, generally speaking, white would really like to have this option.
Yes.
But if black played f3, we don't get this option that we very likely want to have.
Yes.
And that's why f3. Okay.
Mhm.
I hope I didn't frustrate too many people.
No,
That was a
not at all.
lot of questions for me. You
And
showed this a number of times, and I've never
Yeah.
quite understood it.
yeah, and it works the same way with your approach as well.
With what?
Your approach in the game. Either approach
Oh.
move will create the same situation. The only thing that's going to change is which side black attaches on. Black will always attach to the side that's facing the approach stone in the opposite corner. So yeah, so if we go to like the game variation, for example,
Okay.
and then white were to double approach, you would just attach on the top side stone.
On the other side.
And
Okay.
it would be the exact same situation working with your C6.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, I might be at the point of understanding enough to actually use it in a game.
Mhm.
Up to
Yeah.
here, I haven't even been close. Good, good.
Yeah. So when I say they're both positive in this regard, they're both positive in this regard. This is one of the methods of handling star point approach when you've got two diagonal opposite colored star points in modern Go. The only other slight positive that we have to compare is how important is blocking C9 versus how important is expanding to F3. And I don't really know, but my feeling is F3 should be slightly bigger because it's got more of an opening connotation and we're still in the opening of the game.
Okay. Oh gosh, I hope people forgive me for asking these questions. Okay. I'm thinking, oh, I love closing my A open skirt virtually in Sente. Oh, I like this. And you're saying there's this opening thing playing to the virgin territory. Area 1 is wider / bigger than area 2. So approaching at F3 may well be more special.
Yeah.
Okay, that came up in a game you showed me recently.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, so that's the C15 and D11 situation is very kind of light, right? So there's no real need to close the skirt in order to finish that formation.
Yeah, I look at it a lot like when D11 is played, it's already finished. Because the only important stone that black has on the left is D11. A exists to help B survive at the center and have power, but it's not like black is taking any territorial power. Because white's corner is thick, right, George? So white can invade in between at any time using that Kosumi. And if white starts strengthening the bottom left as well, then white can invade from the bottom left quadrant too. But that's not to say like C6 is a mistake though, huh?
If black does play C6, does it sort of imply that black is going after the points on the left when black shouldn't be?
No. The only thing that I would take away from black playing C6 is that black is interested in having better fighting control on the left rather than just the center. So it makes the D11 stone work slightly better multi-directionally. It's improving the ability of him to use that stone on the left-hand side. Like, because let's imagine if I can have control for just a moment, please,
Yeah,
so I can illustrate this point for George. If we imagine white comes in, normally against this type of check, black would really like to pinch. Now, it's very hard to do that when the stone is a white stone, because when white jumps out, whoops, like this, black is separated, and who's really the one under attack here? Right, but if we imagine black has the C6 stone already and white jumps in, well, white is the one jumping into a pincer, and black is the one that's keeping white separated. Right, so this is not that this is exactly how it would go necessarily. Black might even just ignore it and jump first and then kick and then go here to guarantee the order of moves. But in a situation like this, where black has the 3-3 open, black can use this to start a fight that can be good for black. And now this D11 stone has shifted to F10. It gets better center control, and we're handling any possible future white side sort of naturally also. Yeah, so the game flow becomes quite good for black after C6 if white comes in.
So you're talking about the correct way to think about it. That is not what I was doing. I'm like, oh, I like my left. Oh, I'm going to do great things. And that is not how it's way too open for me to, that's just false thinking. Okay. So if I had my head on straight, I would not be playing this move. I'd be playing this move. Not that this is bad, but I'm not in my book. Now that I understand this, I wouldn't play this way.
So if black played at F3 instead, could you talk about the difference between D11 and C11? Because
D and C11.
Sorry, we were talking about playing the two space.
Oh, the difference between the two space. Okay, so if black was low in the top left corner here, let's adjust the board really quick so you can see that. It sort of changes how white might choose to develop the square stone. First of all, white might not even answer this move. White will very likely just ignore and reapproach over here anyway, because for black, a reapproach here is not going to be so impressive. The left side is very low and flat. Later, white can press it down with something like shoulder or maybe even attachments. And then at any point, white might even just give the left to black and say, have it, right? Because I don't really care if black is spending all this time taking 12 to 15 points worth of area. It's kind of not so big. So I think in this case, the presence of the stone does suggest that if white ignores, there might actually be a consequence with this one. Because now if white is playing something like, let's just make an example really quick. This is not necessarily a good way to play, but this is just to kind of illustrate the point. You can see the difference in dynamic development that black gets on the left with the high stone versus the low stone, right?
Yeah.
Now, if white wants to press it down, where's the shoulder to press it down at? You're going to have to press from fifth line, like either here or here, and neither of those are great. And this attachment is just a clearly good exchange for black. So it kind of changes a lot, actually.
Yeah.
And I'll give control back to Lance.
Okay. Good stuff. Boom. Boom. I've had a certain way of thinking about B for 50 years. And the idea of, okay, I'm going to change my thinking. That's hard.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like a lot of that has to do with sort of how we learned the moves back then versus how the moves are played now. Because it could be exactly the same move from 30, 40, 50 years ago. And this move really was a move that was played 50, 60, 70 years ago. Yeah. Back before people were like, oh, Shusaku diagonal is too slow, right? And it was a move that saw a lot of success in Korea, but then players were like, but the invasions later are really annoying. I don't want to deal with that. And, so it sort of falls out of fashion. And then playing moves like C6 to close it was the good shape move, according to the Japanese players, but they'd fallen off for like 2 decades already. And although I don't know if you saw, maybe we should look at these games at some point in the near future on a Thursday. Japan won their first international title 3 days ago in 19 years.
Huh.
Yeah, Ichibiki Ryo swept 3-0 in the finals of the 10th Ing Cup. He didn't drop a single game, and he beat China's Shike to win the title for Japan.
Oh.
Very proud moment, because he's actually my favorite professional player.
Huh.
A little bit of a ghost spotlight there. Now we go back to the game.
No problem with this, I assume.
Nah.
And it's also the same idea of keeping tempo instead of responding. Great, play my own idea.
Yeah. Oh, white pressed. I see.
Okay, so clearly white's planning on building a top.
Yeah.
And I forced myself to say, okay, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Now, when I was a little worried about it, I thought, don't give white these forcing moves because the top is too important. And I thought, no, it's not.
Yep.
So I can take full value.
Yes.
Sound reasonable?
Yep. I would have done the same thing. If white wants to help me crawl and make a lot of money, then I'm going to crawl and make a lot of money.
Yes.
I like my my points.
So white holds off. Turns out he didn't want to do it because he wanted to make sure this kind of thing was left open.
Okay.
So white plays here, and now I was a little bit torn. I liked this move, but I'm not sure I like. I mean, the continuations are positive, but not great. Kind of like he doesn't do anything, I play here. Just take it. It's like, what did I really do?
Well, probably you would start at H15, and then you would play that knight's move, I think. But
Yeah.
as black, I mean, yeah.
Oh, did you just say we don't play A yet?
No, I'm saying if you did, you would probably continue with H15 first, and then you would step back to F14. So rather than give the F14 exchange for white G15, you'd play this one first to ask white about the top, and then you would step back. But yeah, no, I think right now it's a bit slow. Like normally this bump is good when black can play Hane and seal by force, or when black can a cross attach at E15. Neither of those are.
Show me that.
Basically, it's good when black can play this one and it's going to squeeze white by Sente, or when black can play this one and it's actually going to cut. If none of those are particularly impressive, then the white two stones are actually just quite light, and A is a bit slow.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Is it a mistake for white to not respond there? Because to me it looks strange. Not
no.
Okay.
Because we have to think about it from the white's perspective. Did black answer both moves?
You still have control. Show me what you just said.
Oh yeah. So it's like, did black answer both of the white moves? They were forcing exchanges, right? White took the time to force black to stay low. This is to prevent black from playing, for example, this is to prevent black from doing something like this and growing the left side.
Okay.
So that's the meaning of these pressing moves.
Make sure black's low.
Right. Why should white continue if the stones are doing that job already? If black plays here, can black cut? Maybe. But black has to cut in the crude way that starts a fight that looks like it's going to be good for white. Right? Black is the one being surrounded here. White is the one completely enclosing. Black's corner is damaged. It's like, this is not great. So there's just no future for either player at the left right now. White recognized that and then pulled away. This shows actually good judgment by white, because I would have done the same thing, though I wouldn't have played in the same place. Yeah, I would not have answered. I would have gone, for example, here, and I would have started a complication that helps him use that influence a little bit better and gives a future to the top left. But right now, this is a key idea where we're making exchanges that have a purpose. And unless we need to add stones for them to do the job better, then there's no reason why white needs to continue investing here.
Yeah.
If white bumps, it's going to be Hane at the head of 3 anyway. It doesn't really change the shape whether white gets it or black gets it. White was never going to have a cut on the third line anyhow. So, yeah. Okay. When you're thinking about that type of thing, George, always consider like follow-ups that are available and who's going to get more out of the immediate exchange and who's going to get more down the line from it, right? Like, okay, you've played these exchanges. What are their purpose? As long as you're playing with a purpose, you'll have a better sense of when you can leave them.
Okay, white. So here, my natural tendency, which is a very bad one, is to, I better come in. But it's like, no. This is a fine way to play, right?
Yeah, this is okay. Can also just back off normally. All the moves I think here are fine.
You mean like this?
Yeah, it's kind of passive. It's calm. It passes the ball back in white's court and says, "Okay, you've defended the top. Where are you trying to go next?" You know, right now we've got two parts of the board that are in parity. There's the right side and the bottom side. They're both somewhat equally valuable. If white takes one and black takes the other, the opening finishes, the game moves on. So black has time. Black can play this way. P17, slightly more assertive way of doing the same idea. We're going to kick white and leave us a coming in point from below. This is the reason we make the kick exchange these days, is to aim at the M18 point down the line. So it's giving black an access to the top, the white top side, and helping black establish control naturally on the right. Naturally meaning while doing something else, black's not trying to force control by spending a move there and gote. Very important concept.
So for viewers, he's saying that when we kick, it leaves this spot to be a sente, and that can be really useful. It just becomes easy to invade.
Yep.
Okay. And fourth line, third line?
I almost never see the third line anymore.
Yeah.
I think in many cases the fourth line is probably going to be better. I think there are very niche cases where the third line is objectively better, and that's usually when black has some varying degree of thickness really close by, and black's trying to play farther away from middle thickness and closer to the edge.
I really didn't want to.
Yeah,
he likes this, right? So it's not for me. Okay.
Yeah. Although that transposes to a Joseki, funny enough, that is played in Monaco.
Well, you have control. Why don't you tell me that?
Yeah, the Joseki is when it goes like this, and then this one's played, and then we get in response to the shoulder, we get kick and then push.
Yeah.
And this one is a very common sort of pattern to see nowadays. And then there's like wedge connect to try to see if white's going to cover back and give up the cut.
Okay. Good.
So it's okay, I think, in this case. But in general, I'm a fan of the high one as well. I think keeping pressure is better, especially if we're aiming for M18, because it's going to help with all our local options from the top side. When black tries to cut and fight.
Is very much helping the B invasion. Okay, good.
Now,
you came in.
So from this, I feel like white's level is probably not stronger than 2-down.
No, it's not, right? So when I practice these Q games, I really try. There's a lot of things I try to do. But it's like here, it's like, how the heck do you think about this? So I start imagining, is this somehow going to be, am I doing something? Well, it didn't strike me. Well, so the picture I decided, let me do it the wrong way. Well, that's not even good. So I'm thinking that I have an excellent left side, nice, strong, finished, good points, and I get the corner. If it goes this way. Now, how else should I be thinking about this? I felt a little bit lost here.
I don't think the thinking goes farther than this. Because the minute you bump, white loses almost all of white's good follow-ups against the left-hand side. But it also helps a lot. Later, you've got things like A, B, C, D. All of these moves are positively impacted by you making the shape.
By that thickness.
So that's a huge benefit. Yeah, white can come back with something like this attached, like not attachment, but like the shoulder hit. But then black can also just attach and settle the corner. This one's not going to be difficult for black, and the white shape in the center is kind of not so great. If we compare that to this one, while it's true that black is fixing and making some territory, and black can still take the corner if black wants to, actually white's shape on the outside is usually going to be a little bit better in this case when white gets to cover and be more or less thick.
Mhm.
And then because of the lack of the D12 stone, at any point when black is trying stuff here, white is going to have these as backdoor exchanges to cut black off from the left-hand side anyway.
Okay. So when I did this move, I'm thinking, well, everything about what was going on in my head felt like I was making an excuse, and that I'm creating something very small on the left. It just stunk when I played it. But I was really afraid of this just being too darn slow.
Yeah. Well, so it's slow when we took Gote to play it, but it's not slow when we're doing it answering our opponent.
I see.
Yeah.
So pretty slow move.
Yeah.
I see. But if it's in response,
Mhm.
then there's it.
Mhm.
Okay, that
Yep.
makes sense.
Small difference.
And we're not concerned here. Actually, let's bring this straight down. Doesn't this bother us on both sides?
Does it? Okay, let's assume we just jump to the center with 2 stones. Maybe regular 1 space jump or Knight's move. Okay, white could do that, I suppose. Pete.
I don't want to spend time reading this out.
You can't cut. So yeah, and then now black can start leaning against the center. So you can do things like D15 turn exchange, or you can play like F13 directly. You defend by strengthening the center group against the cut by utilizing the pressure on white's 2 stones.
You say these things so casually. Show me a little bit.
I'm putting out my coffee real quick. So for example, black can play here. And it's hard for white to find a good answer. Let's just have white answer in the way that's going to connect white without giving up too much. And then black connects. And now, is the fight going to be better for white or for black? I think the fight's going to be better for black. The reason is black has this A move, which is really annoying for white. This move is going to give him access to the corner. And if white tries to take it to prevent that from being a sente to cut, black's exchange is also positive for the corner. So no matter what, black is gaining profit here. And if white doesn't do something to fix the cut, somehow, then like, let's imagine it's just something egregious like peep and connect. Can we say that this is going to be a good fight for white? Absolutely not. Because the minute black starts getting strong and forces white to run out to live, black will just run the weak 4 stones, and black has destroyed white's topside potential. Okay. So this would be like, I would expect this fight from like 4-dan, 3-dan players, because they don't really know how to do anything else. They just sort of look for these complicated looking fights, and they're like, oh, I'm going to come in and make the area super messy. But like when you actually think about where the fight's going to go, it just doesn't, white's not prepared enough for the fight. It doesn't make sense. Okay. Now, if white already had, for example, some exchange like this on the board, I think there'd be a little bit more merit, where the 2 stones are more or less thick. Because now the weakness is real. Right, there's an actual legitimate concern with the C12 cut. The fight's a little bit harder when white has 1 extra move, but because white doesn't have that F13 on the outside yet, it's painful.
Okay, that helps me understand.
He extended.
Okay. So we get this result.
Okay. Yeah, this result looks very positive for black. I like this result a lot.
Yeah. Now, you and I have talked before about invasions and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I thought I handled it well, and I wanted to double check with you.
Sure.
So, George, where do you think black should play?
George gets a pop quiz.
I know.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm considering reducing rather than invading, or just keeping that in mind. I don't know. I'm struggling.
Okay, that's not a problem. So, so we get to this point in the game, and I'm thinking, okay, I know about A. Somehow with his new wall, it seems a little deep. I was uncomfortable. Okay, well, maybe I'll just switch to, like, B. Well, still, I feel like I'm, trying too hard when it's not hard. Okay, well, maybe I'll just, reduce with C. So I'm thinking all these things, and I go, oh, wait a minute. I'm making this so hard for myself. Why don't I just come up? I'm building something great and preparing for all those things. How'd I do?
Yeah, looks good to me. Looks good to me.
Cool.
I said it. You said that move. Should have said it.
Yeah. But see, now, because you stayed quiet, George, we don't believe you. We gotta speak up.
Okay. When he plays here, I'm going, okay, that is such a mistake.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of a pass. It's like not really doing anything.
Yeah. So
I mean, I guess on the one
this
hand,
point,
made 10 points, but
I felt that he had wasted he's wasted some effort.
Yeah.
And that I felt a solid half stone ahead, possibly even more.
Sounds about right.
But then when I saw this, I go, holy cow, I'm over a stone ahead now. That is so slow. I felt great. Sounds like you're in agreement.
Yeah, seems good to me.
Well, I no longer want to invade at all. So just take the darn corner in Sente and then just go about my business.
Yeah, seems fine. Seems good to me.
And you don't think this 018 is too pushy?
No.
Like White might ignore and get back in the game or something?
White doesn't have any impressive Sente. If White was going to ignore, the only place I could see White ignoring this Hane to would be Q6. And White is not guaranteed to walk away from that corner with Sente. So, can White ignore? Sure. Will White ignore? I don't think so.
Yeah, I was pretty happy. If you want to ignore, I'm just going to totally rip you apart here. Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, I was feeling real good at this point.
White stood on his business and created thickness, but now the top is very small.
Yeah.
Like very small. Yeah.
Here.
And that one's also really slow.
Yeah.
This is probably White just either, I don't know if White knew your level, but this is, I see this a lot in Q games, this type of move. And oftentimes when I ask my students, why did you play it? They're like, oh, I have to stop the double wing. And it's like, okay, that's a good way of thinking. But like, there's no other consideration as to the placement of the stone other than, oh, black double wing scary. And then they don't think about how to handle it in other ways. They just sort of, oh, black took one, I'll take the other, like the game is in balance. I'm like, that works only if the game is in balance and the stone has a future. In this case, I'm not a huge fan, but you know.
Is A better?
I like A more.
But we wouldn't at all say that my move's a mistake.
No.
Maybe a little.
No. So your move is going to be better for endgame, and like direct points. A is going to be better for middle game and handling reduction to the center. So it's really just, again, it's like the choice in the upper right with Joseki from earlier, right? It's like, what are you putting more of an emphasis on? Are you ahead enough that you think that you can coast to endgame and play the move that's going to give you better endgame? Or are you thinking that the game is still in the throes of war and you need to be as active as possible, in which case we should be playing A? It's like...
not in those exact words, but that was very much how I was feeling about it. And I thought, I feel like I have so much access to Area 1. There's so much Aji in there. I'm not concerned, so I'm going to play low. Yeah, very much what I was thinking.
Also, I guess if White takes Area 1, then you're going to take a probably bigger right side,
Mhm.
right?
Possibly.
So when I see this move, I'm like, okay, I'm far ahead. I mean, this is ridiculous. Okay.
Yeah, a few players like to do this because they think, oh, I'm making a box in the center. It's so many points, and they don't realize just like how egregiously narrow it is compared to everything else, and how inefficient it is because it's just forcing moves to your opponent when you play this way.
So this white is suggesting, okay, I'm going to be doing this, and it's a perfect little turn. So that seemed very natural to start here.
Yeah, it's a very big move. And white actually answered it, which I think is a mistake.
Yeah. And then, of course, I'm looking at, these moves coming up.
Yeah, the K4 stone is a bit of a target in these types of shapes. It's what we would consider an overhangma, an overstretching, over movement.
Yeah.
Not quite an overplay, but it's because it wasn't an overplay when it was played, but it's sort of becoming overplay retroactively. It's becoming stretched. As Bilbo Baggins said, it's like butter scraped over too much bread.
There you go. So he still has bad shape. So I'm like, okay, he's got a bad shape. And now there's two problems. He tries to solve it this way.
That's
I thought that was
the headache may be over soon. So if that's what he's trying to solve, he might be finding a good solution to that.
So with his bad shape, I'm thinking, well, actually, I want to mark this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
This is full of gaps. So there's no way I'm not cutting.
Yeah, no, I think cutting is the only move.
Okay.
As In Sil Huang likes to say, in cut we trust.
In cut we trust. Comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
did he get the vital points? Does he hit the vital point? Come on, please tell me yes.
Okay. So, now I'm going to go over this mostly for viewers. It's fairly obvious, but I'm not going to, form a group and get out. I'm going to be asking questions and find the best way out. Okay. Here. Like, no.
Yeah, you can actually just walk out with that one now, I think. I think that one's playable.
Okay. It certainly crossed my mind, but I thought, I want to ask this question first, and I'm totally thinking of you, right? It's like, let's ask some questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we can take this one a step further, actually. You can ask with B16 first, even before E13. The star point. And you can play the diagonal wedging move at D16 first.
I see. This guy.
Yeah.
This move isn't on my radar. It came up recently with you and me, and I go, oh, that's right. So it's still not on my radar, though. Okay.
Yeah, it's positive for the corner. Because if white plays, obviously, the corner Atari connect, then white gets the territory in the corner, but black breaks the whole center. So it's not really playable for white. Okay. And if white Ataris the outside with the 3 stones and black connects, white still has to deal with the E17 cut. So white's going to play some move to handle that cut.
Yeah.
And then there's still the questions around E13 later. And black got to pick up some profit at the corner along the way. So I think regardless of which one you cut with, it's a good one to consider also. Lots of positives.
One other little thing here. In dealing with the A situation, I'm looking at moves that are in the A area, while your D16 is on the left. That's one reason it doesn't get on my radar.
Mm.
Now, it obviously totally deals with my area, but I'm just not used to seeing it that way. Okay.
That's fine.
So I ask the question, he responds.
Yeah.
I want to ask another question.
Mm.
I was really enjoying asking questions here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, gosh, this A stone's powerful, the B stone's powerful, what's he gonna do?
Yeah.
Well, maybe I can resolve this quicker and more easily. But I just was enjoying it. So is there a problem with me asking all these questions?
So with the last two exchanges, I think the E13 exchange is the only one that might lose something because now we don't have B16. So white can block the corner and get the corner territory later.
Uh-huh.
So that could be a loss if black doesn't find Sente there first. If black gets into the corner before white, then it doesn't matter. This one is helping white strengthen towards our C cutting stone, which is an important stone because that's the stone that's going to lead our charge out of white's area. So I don't know if I would make this one. I think if it was me as black on this board, I would probably just extend to H8. I think the A cut is fine. I think this one, we don't need it. I think we just pull back here because the threat is we're going to cut at E8 or connect it home. So it's literally forcing it and we just run out. Now light can't surround us, and there's no need to make the J11 for A10 exchange anymore. It's not really important for black to have that.
Yeah. Okay. So I was enjoying myself a little too much. Okay.
So in that last variation, when black ran out, to me it seemed that black didn't get that much because white wasn't really aiming for. I mean,
black gets a lot here. Actually, pass me control really quick.
Also, that last move helps with the right, of course.
I'm going to show a different last move.
Okay.
The white is being surrounded.
Because I was going to say that, perhaps instead of cutting, you could have played the other side, and then you'd have moves against the corner. But this does.
No. Yeah, like this one. This one is actually quite severe on a large scale because black has a ko at A, so white's corner is not even a little shape yet. Black is now thick at B. Right, so assuming that the C group can't be killed, a move like this that could force separation, like this is where having the low stone becomes kind of like a hidden dagger. You can imagine like variations down the line where black is able to allow a cut and go underneath something like this.
Yeah.
And it becomes incredibly powerful. Of course, black can do that after jumping out as well. Like if white has to come back and spend a whole move here to fix without making territory, that's also a good exchange for black.
Yeah.
We can imagine something like this with black closing the gap, or even something here where black is like, hey, protect your center, and then black is getting all those things. Like it helps regardless of which way black is.
Yeah,
but black gains a lot here when black is able to run out like this. And all white did was defend an area that should have been white's already after spending 2 moves to go for the take it. White didn't get anything new here.
Now we're seeing everything going in black's favor here. All the variations, black's doing better.
Yep.
And it comes back to seeing this slow A followed by a slow B, and it's just not enough to keep up with the pace.
Right.
So I ask, and I guess I don't need this.
No, I think it's more accurate to play the extension first.
Okay.
Because in this case, white can Tari at H8 and sort of solve the cut problem at E8 with that one move. Black can still get in. Of course, it's not going to stop black from playing something like J9. But now white isn't cut at E8 anymore, at least not in a meaningful way, not yet. So no reason for black, I think, to give that small benefit to white in this case. I think we can take that away first since it will be Sept, and then we can come out.
In regards to that, I was actually seeing A as only one eye, and that I'm still, surrounding the whole group. Now, granted, that's, might not be a good way, but I was just seeing so many options that I felt in complete control, which I think is true.
Yeah, I think no matter what white did, to be honest, black is already better because here you just Atari and then.
So I finally get my H8.
Yeah,
which
now
is
it's
the key point.
Yeah, it's just a Mii. White can connect the 3 stones or connect the 1 stone. I think White has to connect the 1 stone. I think that's this is something Q players do a lot. Like, so White is thinking of, I'm going to connect, Black is still weak, I'm attacking, I'm in control. But actually, White is now the weak one. The 3 stones in the center are about to be Dame Zamari.
Yeah.
The minute Black gets a Hane there, those 3 stones have a Liberty shortage, and so that's Black's backdoor out. At this point, yeah, White taking Gote to play this attacking move, I think Black can answer with just playing the Hane in the center. And once Black establishes control with K12, I'm not really sure what White's going to do.
Well, one thing about that. Oh, yeah, I was just taking it back. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I was just putting it on the board.
Okay.
For the viewers to have the
I
visualization.
felt hesitant about playing this move because I really like being able to. So the move you just put down seems very thin to me. So I went this way specifically because I'm looking at that A stone saying, I just want to run out and kill everything. But I think once again, we're seeing this is the one that does the main job. Just do the main job. Don't do the secondary stuff.
I also don't see how White's going to stop it. I don't think White can really break its relationship with A that easy either, because the 3 stones again have a Dame Zamari. White can't make the J10 exchange easily and cut.
Right.
Like, because in this case, Black will just ignore the Atari and extend the 1 stone. So you still get to achieve the job of pulling that cutting stone out. And White's relationship with the stone at N8 still requires at least 2 moves to resolve the cut completely. So in this case, White is kind of, as the kids say, cooked. White is cooked. Yeah, that's a wild move. The White Knight's move, huh? Yeah, I think if Black manages to just live independently here by capturing the 1 stone somehow, it's going to be the worst possible outcome for White, because now the topic is Black can escape 2 ways. Black doesn't have to answer here. So Black can escape 2 ways. Black can go above and connect the L8 stone to the top right, or Black can go below and connect it to the corner.
Do you mean these 2 ways?
Yeah. So because Black has that, I think now is the time to return to the main topic, which is what does White do when Black plays G4?
G4.
And I think that's the urgent spot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying, and we're going over this. I like my moves so much, but I'm still doing secondary things rather than staying on the primary things. So at this point, my Black center group, I've accomplished it. It is now fine. I don't even have to think about the co. So back to C and have that co for later if I need it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, like you've got 2 directions. You can play the C move, the G4 move, or you can play like M6, the B direction.
Yeah.
In this case, even though A and B are like a Mii, the B direction actually is sort of hidden value because of the C placement that Black can have here. So if we can exchange, for example, White or Black M6 for White H4, just where Black is coming out and surrounding, and White is like, oh, I need to stop G4, so White answers and goes down bottom. Then that allows Black to come through A, and then Black can completely isolate the N8 stone, which is quite big.
Like that.
Right, this way, Black can get both. And if White doesn't allow Black to get both, White would have to find a way that does it in good enough shape that White doesn't lose anything, and Incente, which is a lot to ask for in Black's strong area.
Yeah.
Because if Black gets Incente to play at C, it's over. You know.
So here, we just started this co, and so I'm sidetracked now thinking about the co, thinking, well, running out of A, without the co, I'm not sure I can depend on it, which leaves me with B. I felt a little, so I thought, well, I decided to fill.
Yeah.
Thinking I don't need to play Ko. I'm doing so well here, but
Okay.
it's just not the best way to think about it.
That's okay. I mean, I don't think it's losing much, which is at least a good thing. Because you do have follow-ups, right? So it's not like connecting is slow. It's just maybe slightly missing the main topic, which is, I think it's the follow-ups are going to be smaller than attacking the 4 stones on the bottom. This move by white was sharp to recognize that the bottom was in danger.
Yeah.
Black had a really cool move here that black didn't do. Surprised me.
You say black has a good response here?
Yeah.
I wouldn't even know. Do you mean how to deal with A?
Sort of. It's kind of, we can say kind of dealing with A. It's an interesting asking move that uses the A stone.
Yeah, there's too many ways of looking at it, so I don't even know what you're talking about.
Just peep.
Peep what?
L5.
That's a peep?
Yep. It's peeping his, whatever you call that shape.
Okay. What do you call that shape? I guess it's a peep. I don't think it that way, but it is.
In this case, it's sort of sidestepping white.
So we're slicing through, separating the two. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very, just overall very positive. And even if white pushes through and cuts, the white is still getting cut somewhere.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of, is white going to get cut off on the bottom, or is white going to get cut off on the N4 stone? Black is happy with either. Both lead to black getting a profit. So
I'm
spinning.
I guess I had this underlying fear that my 8 group still isn't quite great. And I should just be, oh no, I'm great. Just go start doing whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
That group is nearly alive as it is. Like, it's very, very hard for white to kill that group. Because you get so much like free eye space in the center just from playing the F12 Hane. It's like, I don't really see where white's gonna like actively try to kill you.
Yeah.
You know.
My normal move is here.
I think the high is correct most of the time, yeah.
Man, I was so afraid that I was being one-dimensional or something. So I thought, let's slice through.
Yeah, it is sort of technically one-dimensional, but like just imagine for a second if you pass me control really quick. It can be hard for these types of fighting, even for Q low Don players, but like because you've got the weak group on the other side, you've got something else you can lean on. White can't afford to lose either of them. So white's going to have to answer every forcing exchange you make. But the problem is, no matter how white answers, white's cut.
Yeah.
This cut doesn't really matter much. It's like, okay, we can give 1 eye, but 1 eye like doesn't come. You need 2 eyes to live. And if white is like struggling like this to make 2 eyes, then can white make it? Sure, white can make it. Maybe it's possible white can make it. But however white's going to go about trying to make 2 eyes, still trouble comes, right? And black is happy taking either. So in situations like this, I mean, you know, it is what it is. White's so bad, almost anything is positive.
Okay.
You know, as long as it can keep white separated and black can get one or the other. The only way it becomes a positive is if white gets to save both and black got nothing new. Then it becomes a complete failure for black. But it's very hard to imagine that future.
Yeah. So I'm just too focused saying I want my A group to get out.
Right.
I was already strong and should be using it that way. Okay.
Yeah. Because here, if we just look at the shape, it's like black made a broken shape with black self. And black is sacrificing the 3 stones. It's okay, it's playable, but black didn't have to do it.
Yeah.
And then you connected passively and Gote N3, and then white even to Nukis. So now the main topic is still going to be black getting to that G4 area.
Okay. All kind of basic here.
I think you could have cut. The other Hane, the inside Hane, I think was playable this time.
Show me.
This one.
Have white like connect under or something.
Connect under
Oh,
where?
but then you're saying the other part dies.
Yeah. Seems only white can turn. But yeah, I
Okay.
think black is happy with that.
So cut.
Mhm.
Oops. And you're saying
Mhm.
here.
Yeah, if white goes under capture, there's no need to connect. We can just take the ones down.
And we can't get out.
We don't have to get out. We can just take Sept here. I think it's enough.
Okay. Let's see if there's anything else of interest here.
I think black is just like very clearly winning now.
Yeah.
I mean that was the case a while ago. Black was very clearly winning.
Right.
So not really
This,
much
of
white
course,
can
is
do.
a super big move.
Mhm.
Is there anything else? I guess he resigns here. Yeah.
Yeah, well, after white captures, black's next move would be in the corner, and then from there, it's like all the big end games are settled, and there's not really much. I mean, white's going to block probably, or white's going to have to play b5.
But still, white doesn't have any eyes yet. So
And if white plays either of those, black still has g4. So
yeah, yeah.
although I guess in this case, black might start with j2.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, good. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
It was
Right about an hour.
right. You are. Okay, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, and everybody. Thank you for watching.
Yeah.
As always, thank you, Chris, for your 9-down wisdom.
Yep. I
And
do my
we'll see-
best.
And it's good. It is good. Okay. See you all later.
Yeah.
Yeah.